Extreme Collectibles here. How you guys doing? I say guys because YouTube tells me that 99.9% of you are male. So to ladies, how you doing? I'm doing pretty bad. I went to empty my memory card and I made sure that it had uploaded. I just reviewed Custom Batman on Throne behind me yesterday, and it was on my computer. So then I took it out, I erased it, I put it in the camera, and then my computer crashed. So the whole video I did is completely gone. I have to reshoot that, which is just really, I don't know. Thankfully, I'm very excited. I'm very excited because I have a custom piece right here. And the reason I'm so excited about this custom piece, I thought I had a booger, that's why I did that. Hopefully I don't. If I do, enjoy looking at it. But the reason I'm so excited, this custom piece is made, it's actually a collaboration between the company that made my Hobgoblin I'm a big fan of and the Crow, and then a newer custom company that I can't reveal the sources, but I still have your money, yo. So some of you know who that is. And I'm always excited about this. And one of the other reasons I'm really excited is right now there's only 6 of these. There are only 6 of these out there from my knowledge. The prototype, and then 1 through 5 were shipped out. And they're gonna have 35 total, which we're gonna talk about, but I have number 1. I'm number 1. Number 1, baby. Extreme Collectibles here with custom quarter scale doppelganger statue. As I said in the intro, this is a collaboration between 2 commissioners, and I believe it was a collaboration because the initial commissioner, he had some personal stuff. So, you know, what's really cool about that is and this is me, I may be totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. He kind of recognized that, so he had one of his good friends who also started commissioning pieces kind of take up the reins and finish off the project. And now they're both doing separate projects, but I think some of them are collaborating. And I was thinking about this right before I started filming. I think I have every single one on PO, which is sad. I think I do. I don't know. But at least of the original company. And I'm so excited because I love the first 2 pieces. And I started unboxing this, and one of the things is they ship it very quickly after they paint it, so there's still a very, very strong aroma. It was like that with the last few pieces. It was like that now. They package it extremely well, so there was no change in that. It was everything, every part was wrapped individually, good black foam. Nothing new changed. And it was structured very similar to the Hobgoblin. So first, the base is one piece. The spider webs are another additional pieces, which we're going to talk about during design. The bottom portion of Doppelganger is one piece. His torso is another. And then all 6 of his arms and his head are another. And we're going to talk about some of that in the design. But it does come with a few switch outs, which is cool. So first, let's show 2 heads. So first you have right here, the head I've displayed, his tongue is inside. It's his tongue-in head, essentially. Still has the wonderful drool. And then you have a tongue-out head, very Venom-like. Then his bottom right arm, you can have him hold Spidey's mask. And if you don't like that, you can have him hold part of the building that he tore off. So no issues going together. One interesting fact, and this is a little more design, but the base is extremely heavy. Most of the top parts are quite a bit lighter. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but it doesn't really matter to me. There are 35 of them made. I want to say price was right around 700, 800 in that range, plus a couple hundred shipping. So not too bad for a custom piece at all. Doppelganger, if you don't know who that is, so Doppelganger. First, Doppelganger is someone who looks identical. So people often say you're the exact doppelganger of Brad Pitt. I know. I also live in the 90s, so I don't know who the attractive people are today. Is it Aquaman? Is that, yeah, that one of the 2 ladies that are watching? Please let us know who the attractive men of today are. But This is a creature with very little brain that was created during the Infinity Wars, and he's obviously copied from Spider-Man. He has almost all of Spider-Man's abilities, including strength and things like that. And I knew all that, but then I wanted to know some more, so I Googled it, and this is the first sentence I read. First and last sentence I read. The doppelganger began life as a living fractal, a geometric pattern in the dimension of manifestations. Whatever the fuck that means. So, Doppelganger is a creature with a lot of power, a lot of motion, and there's all these different spin-off stories I remember with Magus and Demogoblin and anyway, but Spider-Man Enemy is the key. So I bought him because, as you guys know, I have a huge Spider-Man collection, a lot of the XM villains. I have a lot of different Spider-Mans. Eventually, it's going to take the place of the Thrones behind me, so you'll always see him in the future, unless I rethink things, which happens almost on a daily basis. But very excited to have him, and there's some things about him that I absolutely love, because I believe they use the same sculptor for all three of the pieces from this company, and the factory also has the master painter, and the painting I think is just phenomenal. And there's some things that are reminiscent of the Hobgoblin piece and even the Crow piece that I love so much that kind of transcended into this. So let's just really start talking about those. So concept, first of all, you have Doppelganger, and just like any Spider-Man villain or Spider-Man piece, they always seem like they're on the top of a building. So that's what he's doing here. He's on the top of a building, and he's very menacing. He's in attack mode. He's got all of his arms out. The building has some cool webbing on the front, evident of him, and he's just nasty, snarling, drooling. Some of his drool fell on the building, which we're going to see in a little bit, and just a really cool attack pose. It's neat. It's really, really neat. I think it pairs well with whether you're sitting him next to a dynamic piece or a museum piece. So I like pieces that kind of fit in with any collection, because let's face it, most people who are getting this piece right here, it's not like the only Spider-Man piece they're going to have. It may be, but I'd be very surprised if that was the case. So, very cool concept. I really like it. There's a lot of things going on with the design. Some of them really cool, and some of them I'm not sure on yet. So first, I want to talk about the spider webs on the front. Not the paint or you know, anything on them, but kind of the design. So they fit into the building through small magnetized keyholes, which is a neat way to do it. So they stay in there secure, and you can kind of move them around. There's a little bit of movement to them, which is nice. One thing though, when we look at the paint and sculpt, it covers some of the really cool paint and sculpt of the building. And unfortunately, if you take them off, you still see those small keyholes. And they're small, but you still see them, so it's kind of an issue. Another thing with the design, and I noticed this on the Hobgoblin statue, is where his feet meet the pavement, there's something off about it. It almost looks like the pavement rose, and just something with the engineering and design. I don't think he'd be crushing the building. It's not like he's a character of massive weight, so I'm not a big fan of that. And you can see it right here in these pictures. Something, I wish the building would have been flat where he's coming in. And I understand because of the way his feet are arched, he kind of had to do that, but it does take away a little bit of the design. One of the really good things about the design is they were able to hide the seams where the pattern on the costume was. So for example, his head seam doesn't even look like he has a seam. So really well done, great execution on that. However, I do have an arm gap on the right arm, a seam, not a gap, a seam that is decently noticeable when you're looking from the top. So tiny issue there, but realistically, those are nitpicking. That's being really crucial for you layman folk. So design, still really cool because it is a complex statue. He has, you know, technically eight appendages, 6 that you attach. Very rarely do you have a piece that you're adding onto the torso 7 different areas. So, yeah. But paint and sculpt is what I really like on this guy. And some of it, when we talk about the sculpt and especially the anatomy of Doppelganger, it's interesting because I don't really have a roadmap to follow. He's not human, So does he have human musculature? Is he supposed to? I don't know. And you know, his costume, I don't know if it's a costume or not. I don't remember. It is a costume, but there's just some things that I don't have enough information on to really judge whether it's correct or off, but it looks really good, so that's a good sign. But let's start at the base here. They do a fantastic job with their building bases. It was just like this with Hobgoblin, and I'm really excited because I have another Goblin coming through them. First of all, you have the front facade with the bricks and the ledges and the overlay, and there's some cracks built into there. And not only is the sculpt excellent, but the colors just really show that age and make it pop. And then moving to the top where he's crushing the building, there's with both his feet and his arms, there's some rubble, looks like real pebbles. And the breaks in the building, the indentions where you see the raw stone behind it, again, the sculpt is fantastic and the paint just really complements it. And on the back side, the unfinished part of the building, it's very similar to what we were just talking about. So much cool texture and design that just went into this. The webs, I'm on the fence about. I don't know how to make them better, but I don't think they look amazing. I think they don't look cheap either. It's hard to describe. They're almost glistening, but they're not. And the design is really probably thicker than it would be in real life, but if you made it too thinner, it would break or it just wouldn't show very well. So I don't know what I'm gonna do about the webs, whether I'm gonna keep them or not. And then moving on to Doppelganger, and this is where it's going to be kind of weird for two reasons. The first I talked about, I'm not sure what the anatomy is supposed to look like, but two, very difficult to take pictures of for multiple reasons. One is there's just some weird angles, and you know, of course my camera has a viewfinder, but sometimes I was on a handstand trying to take pictures of it. And the other one is there's some really thin parts where, for any of you photographers out there that are you know, amateur like I am, it's hard to get those thin parts to focus. So anyway, but starting at, you know, his feet, really cool design in his feet. I like, they look bony, almost like eagle talon, and there's some good muscle in there. And I like the different colors they used all over on the red on the suit. They have the black line pattern, but they also have some black mixed in with the red. Looks really cool, moving all the way up to kind of his knees and his thighs. And this is where that anatomy part I'm kind of unsure of. I don't know what it's supposed to look like, but you do see a few folds and a seam in the texture there, and it's this darker blue with some black mixed in there. I think some texture would have helped right here. It would have made it look a little bit better, popped a little bit more. Not a lot, but just a little bit. There's almost no texture other than where the designs are on the suit. His hands look really cool. Here you see the one, again, crushing the building. Really good clean paint job on this, especially where it connects to the building. And then here's some of his thin hands. I love these nails that are coming out. You know, they're the same color of the suit, but they almost look like they're popping out of the suit, and they're a little bit dark. They go from black to darker red at the tips. And he's holding the Spider-Man mask. I don't know if I like this. It's more of an old-fashioned Spider-Man mask. It's not kind of your newer retro, or not retro, your newer state-of-the-art one with the eye patch kind of sticking out, really jutting out. And Doppel's face, which we're going to look at in a second, looks like that. But I don't know if I like the position of this. I might, realistically, I think I might picture him holding the building, because that piece, I'm not going to review it right now because I didn't take any pictures, but it looks really, really good, the chunk of building. And some people who don't know who he is might think this is Spider-Man, and then he's holding a Spider-Man mask, and it might get them confused. And you know, I charge $20 a head to come see my collection, so I don't want people to be upset. But let's look at his ass. So there's no definition in his ass or where his butt crack is, which I don't know if Doppel has a butt crack, so I'm not really too concerned about that. But moving up, you got a little bit more of the red design right in the belt there. And then his back is completely boned and roided out. And the Spider-Man symbol on his back is, you know, kind of an offset of Spider-Man's traditional, a little bit thinner in the arms or the legs, the appendages. But his back is so bumpy and roided out. And I actually think it works really well for the statue. And it's kind of dull back here, where some of the other parts are a little bit more glistening with the colors. And then looking at his front, again, the traditional Spider-Man symbol, the small one from, you know, your classic Spider-Man. And I love the design. And here you don't see as much of the black, but it still looks really good. And then looking at his portraits, first we'll start with the normal portrait where his tongue is in. Again, the same design on the costume. I'm not going to go over that. The eyes, the colors look okay. There's something about it that just seems a little bit off to me. His teeth, I'm actually not a fan of. I almost wish they were kind of dirty, but they almost look bunched together, and the paint almost looks like it's cracking on it. I think there was some missed opportunity on the paint. I even see some red that was supposed to be on the inside of the tongue, but it's probably an incredibly difficult paint job. And then the saliva dripping down. I know originally this was going to be like a white saliva, and now they added some blue and some green and everything to it. And I'm not sure about that. Maybe some clear resin, but that it might have broke off. And I know they got away from the white because any man that has white substance dripping from his mouth is too Van Wilder-ish, if you know what scene I'm talking about. And then one thing I do like is the puddle of drool. Looks really neat. It has kind of that glistening effect. And I think it's just a cool addition to the statue. And then I want to look at his tongue out portrait here, specifically his teeth, some of the similar issues I have seen, and the drool, the saliva, is kind of wrapped around the tongue, but there is fantastic texture and paint on the tongue. I wish they would have showed more of the tongue because they did a really good job on that. And for you two ladies watching, you'd like that tongue probably. Probably not the rest of his grill, but that is my custom doppelganger. I am very happy with it. I am. I think it's a really cool piece. It's a unique piece, and that's the other thing too. We didn't really talk about. It's a character that nobody does. So, and because he's not as popular, but he just looks badass. I mean, yeah, very cool. So, gonna keep him, add him to the Spidey collection. And with that, if you have not subscribed, do it now. Hit subscribe, hit that bell. I have lots of cool stuff coming, and I want to share it with you. And I do this for the glory. Amen. Take care.